Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've had a few problems with this already, but we are finally here to start off Formula 3 here in PSGL, and there's just been a few troubles tonight, hasn't there? My main commentator, who's meant to be with me, Noah, unfortunately, because he lives in America, he's probably forgot that we are in BST and not GMT, so he may have got mixed up with the times a little bit, and he is not here this evening. I will have a rant at him afterwards, don't you worry. But it doesn't seem to matter right now, as obviously these guys are still in qualifying. We haven't missed any racing action, and they've only done their first laps. It's Cortez who is the quickest to start off with. He's the first into the 24s as well, and he's actually quite clear of everyone at the moment, but it is only opening laps. Obviously, we haven't seen the opening laps since we've just started, which is partially my fault, but I don't think I would have expected my commentator to mess up quite badly, but it doesn't seem to matter. These things happen, we're all human, but yeah, we're here for action tonight anyway. Doesn't seem to matter about that, and hopefully we can be in for some great F3 action. Of course, only 2 tiers above F2 and F1, but I tell you what, this game, well, particularly this track we've come to see from the PC tiers earlier in the week, there is little to nothing that separates the top drivers to these drivers. It is so close, so expect some really good action and some elite lap times here towards the top. This third tier also is no assist, like the second and the first. I believe the top 5 are all no assists, maybe the top 6, I'm not entirely sure, but obviously F3 is my main focus tonight. All these guys, no assists, all are elite drivers, of course, if you may want to tag them as that if you wish, and all of them are going for glory here tonight, of course. Opening round of the season, everything to play for, no one knows where anyone will be, and early indications show us that QVR Cortez is the guy to beat at the moment, but again, there still is at Kush to finish his lap, which, looking at some data that we do have, he looks like he could be one of the early favourites for the championship. But new game, new ambitions, new drivers, and new performance for all these drivers. They could be anywhere, and this is exactly where things will start off. These drivers will have to know, they don't know where they exactly stand in this championship. And they don't know who their main competitors are. There's some good talent in here that have come down and gone up, obviously, to F2 and F1, and they've obviously gone down from F2 to F3. We look at the likes of Greeny for that one, who's gone down to F2. Schumacher 1, who was in F1 Esports Challenger Series on the PS side, was in F1 also last season in PSGL. Didn't do too much racing, but he's here in F3 tonight, and he's here, obviously, to take a claim at the championship. And obviously, the likes of Isaac Kush here in F3, who, like I said, looks to be a potential candidate for the title. But how's his first lap going to go? He's not completed one, he's just about to, and you know what, he goes P2, so if he wants to take a stake at the championship, it's a good early start. And of course, remember, we are at Bahrain, and this is a track that is quite an interesting one for these drivers in sim racing. Of course, you may have noticed, obviously, from PC, of course, earlier this week, which got underway, and obviously Jana Watmir took the victory in that one. But a lot of drivers who started from the midfield, bizarrely, were at the front, and that is because, if you are new to the sim racing side, because obviously a lot of you guys have started tuning into League Racing from PSGL, so hello to everyone who's come in as like a casual or a newbie to League Racing, I suppose. And this is basically one of the tracks where P11 could actually get you the win here, and of course medium tyres is much more optimal over the softs, and the alternate strategy here works very well, which is a medium soft strategy. The softs are very good with obviously lower fuel as well, it makes sense. And it does mean that we may see times a little bit slower towards the end, but there are some people obviously who have fully indicated now to us they are going for pole position. One of them is IFR Jensen, who's just finished his lap and has gone into the 24.8. So like I said, expect mid 24s potentially by the end of it to be our pole lap here tonight, potentially. I say that obviously stressing that someone isn't going to run away with things, or I'm stressing, of course, that we are not going to be slower than expected, as Isaac Kush he's backed out of his lap, so he'll go again. Shizu A Law, he has just started. his lap. Let's just try and find someone more towards the end. Sem was more towards the end, but obviously he's invalidated. Shazoo Joey then, here we go. Here's a driver that hasn't come towards the end of this lap, and he's another one that is probably one I haven't spoke about, and I did promise to him I'll speak about him. Is he going to go pole position here? Because this will be quite nice to hear. He was, if anyone has seen PSGL on Twitter, and particularly some of the things, Joey was actually banned from the league, but at Silverstone, at the British Grand Prix, he found Jake Humphries, and Jake Humphries had a go at the PSGL admins, and it convinced the PSGL admins, it convinced Connor to unban Joey, and Joey probably didn't get banned for the worst thing or anything, so it's not like it was a controversial unbanning at all, but Joey comes here tonight, you know, probably quite fortunate he found Jake Humphries, who then obviously told the PSGL guys to unban him. So fair play to Joey, he's here tonight, and well, he's looking relatively quick, isn't he? Just off pole position from M&T Smash, which we're into the .7s now, so me predicting to be into the mid-24s to be pole position. It's going quite well at the moment, but we've got Shazoo A Law coming across the line. I think he's improved, but not much in terms of position. I'm guessing what Cohen is saying, if Joey doesn't win, he's going to be disappointed. You said, if Joey doesn't. Okay, I think I may have missed that one out. But anyway, Cortez goes top of the standings. That's a .7 there, .7 mid. So, yeah, times are going down. Some of these drivers are probably prioritising the alternate strategy here at the moment. But most of the guys seem to be still doing their lap times, of course, towards the end of this session. I'm not exactly sure how much time we've got left, because we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1 constantly, as Lewis has left the session. I'm actually going to take away the telemetry here, because it can be quite in the way, as Lewis actually came into the pit. So we will go over to another driver now, which is Rattle Stifler. That is a beautiful name, I must say. That's going to be one for the ages. There's a lot of cool names you usually find in league racing. A lot of very creative names, I do say. There was someone last season, I think, called Toss My Salad, which particularly I liked. And I think there was also someone, I'm going to hit you soon, or something like that. I can't remember. But you get some fun names, let's just say, in league racing, which is why the PS tier, unlike the PC tier, can actually be quite fun to watch, because you do get some quite wacky names which you actually want to turn around and support. But anyway, Rattle Stifler then, he's coming through on his lap. He's through Sector 2 right now. He's on a 26.2 early on. I'm sure he can improve from that. It's just whether he wants to improve from it. And there you go, a second up on his lap time. What was his best? His best was on the medium, so that makes sense now. So at the moment he's on target to be into the low 25s here. Whether he will still continue that through Sector 3, not the trickiest of sectors. Sector 2 is the one where you gain or lose the most time, and he's actually gained quite a bit in that Sector 3 anyway. 1.3 up on his time, and he goes into P6 and actually joins a few guys into the 24. So a decent lap from Rattel there, as in the Red Bull he goes P6. So Red Bull looking already high. Of course, this is just a driver's game. It's also a constructor's game. Most of these are teammates, of course. VRT, Pat, and Kryptonite teammates, obviously, in the Alpine, looking fairly close. And I think Sem and Greeny, they are, well, one of them, I think Sem is a reserve. So then they're teammates tonight, but they're not the teammates overall. I will go through them after qualifying, since I think it's a little bit inappropriate at the moment, since everyone is now coming out to start their laps. I'll just need to find the person who's going to be starting on their first lap, and I don't think it's at Cush. It's McLaren, I think. As nice to see this game still isn't fixed, I do have to say. But anyway, here comes LR Margalit. That's a brilliant name to start off with, something I cannot pronounce, but Margalit starts his lap in the McLaren. It comes down to turn 1. Very tricky through there, lockups through turn 2, get on the throttle nice and early, quickly up. Usually you can actually go flat out through there, believe it or not. Now coming down to turn 4, then brake just after the 100 meter board. A little bit of lag here, making this look a little bit unneat, but it does seem like a decent lap so far. Now through turn 6 and turn 7, very tricky through here, raking it through the second half of it, and then through turn 8, the hairpin, and then obviously down to turn 9 and turn 10, which has become a bit of a nemesis for these guys since they are running no ABS, and because this is a no assist league as well, you can end up having code browns at that corner particularly and spinning the car. But now coming through down to turn 11, break in between the 150 meter board, and I think that Margalit has unfortunately backed out on us, which is not exactly what we would have wanted. Now as I have to try and find someone who's on a lap further than Falk, and Greeny was, but he spun and he's obviously invalidated there as well. Pat has just started the lap, so we will obviously go back to him towards the end. I'm going to stick with the Dutch Missile. I've not seen him so far in league racing, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does. And I believe he did set his time on the mediums as well. His delta would suggest that. He's 9 tenths up on this lap currently. He's doing a good job here, and through sector 3 goes the Dutch Missile. He's in P17 at the moment. Like I said, these drivers, some of them may prioritise P11 and actually celebrate P11. Is Dutch Missile going to do that? I tell you what, he definitely went for it. He lifted right before the line, so you definitely know what his tactic was completely there. Pat is still midway through his lap, so we will try and find someone towards the end, and it's in fact the next person across the line, WR Falk. He at the moment is in P17. Where's he going to go? He's going to go P14. He wouldn't mind that whatsoever, but it's Kryptonite currently who holds that P11 spot, which is obviously basically pole position for some people. As we go and find someone who's coming towards an end, we'll just stick with Pat because he's got one corner to go. I didn't quite catch the delta there at the top. Whether it's just changed, but Pat on a decent lap time, he's right ahead of his teammate, and I believe he looks like he's up. He looks like a very clean lap for the Alpine, and perhaps they're doing reverse strategy for each other. And there we go, Pat into P4. That's a strong lap from him. Schumacher 1 is nowhere near the finish of his lap. Joey is near the finish of his lap though, as he's got one more corner to go, and oh, that is harsh. That is harsh for Joey, and I'm not entirely sure whether he would have actually gone pole position, but if he did, then he would be absolutely fuming right now. But Cortez at the moment, he is coming towards the end of his lap, and you know what, he's up by almost a tenth of a second, so this is going to be a blistering lap time from the Haas if he can keep it all together. QVR Cortez, and this is probably going to be a pole position lap time unless Schumacher can do anything. And Cortez comes across the line, and you know what? It wasn't a great sector 3, but he has most certainly improved. Schumacher 1, he is up by a small amount. Is he still up towards the end of his lap? Let's have a look. No, he's up, but he hasn't really changed position there, unfortunately. So that is the end of qualifying. There are a few still on laps. Aroka just finished his, doesn't really improve position. Tom Robbo does. And Lewis, I think, is the final one to finish. He actually will start from P8. So, a lot of teammates together there, really. You've got, obviously, the two Ferraris together. The Alfa Romeos are quite close. Same with the McLarens. And beforehand, pace did look quite similar between the two Alpines. But they're now a bit stretched out. So, a lot of team battles going on. But it's Cortez who has pole position here. The Portuguese driver in the Haas with a 24.7. Getting it by 11 thousandths. Look at the top 6, separated by less than a tenth of a second. That is how close we are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. All of them within a tenth of a second of each other. Anyone can win this. Smash in second place. Joey will start from third place. Pat in fourth. Law fifth. Jensen in 6th, Schumacher will start from 7th, Lewis in 8th, Rattle Stifler in 9th, and Isaac Kush will start from P10. And there is the drivers outside the top 10. Watch out for these couple of drivers here. Sem, Falk, Ablaze, and Tom Robbo, and maybe even Kryptonite as well. All could be in with a shot of a podium or a victory here today, because we do know, obviously, us league racers who have seen this, us commentators who have seen this before, those who were watching and tuning in on Thursday night, that this reverse strategy and starting from P11 is not exactly a bad thing. And those drivers at the front, they will know that. But what Cortez has done, for example, is he has stabled his claim. He knows where he's at, and he knows he's at the front. So this is a title challenge that he's declared from his qualifying from the start, and can he go all the way to victory? It's going to be a very, very interesting race. And like I said, though, this grid, it's going to be very close. I do have to say, like, it's going to be super close between the F3 grid, and we've already seen that from qualifying, haven't we? Top 6, less than a tenth of a second, and I think Jensen was going to get pole position as well. He's got a .708 invalid, so he was actually going to get pole position by quite a bit. He was, so yeah, absolutely gutting for Jensen, which is unfortunate for him, but just don't invalid your lap, ladies and gentlemen. It can really cost you a lot this game, and just showing from Jensen, it's cost him pole position, and I believe, if I'm correct, I'll just wait and see where he is. He is in that top 6, I believe, as hopefully I can see in a second. There we go. He's starting from P6, so he's just starting from the back of that group that were under a tenth of a second from pole position. Not where he would have wanted to start, and, well, we're in for a very, very, very interesting race here tonight. And, of course, we're almost in a Mercedes sandwich here at the moment. Obviously, Smash from P2 and Aroka will start right at the back in P20. But as I go down, I'm going to actually talk about the teams and everything. Let me just get that up on my side, because I've got to be switching different places to find it. The allocations are as follows. So in the Ferrari is Schumacher, 1 and Lewis. Shizou, Joey and the Dutch Missile in the Aston Martin. Kryptonite and Pat Schneider, or VRT Pat, in the Alpine. It's Loney, who's not here tonight, and ADRT Betuxel, I do apologise, both in the Red Bull. They are both not here tonight, so impressions for both the Red Bull drivers. Ecos, Menno and Ginger, also both not here tonight in the Williams. We're missing quite a few people because I think in the Netherlands and a bunch of other Central European countries, they go on vacation for most of August, so that explains the confusion why a lot of drivers are away. Law and Cortez are in the Haas. Margalit and Ablaze are in the McLaren, and it's Devon, who's not here tonight, and Isaac Kush in the Alpha Tauri. Tom Robbo and Falk in the Alfa Romeo, and M&T Kilcree and Aroka in the Mercedes, and Kilcree is not here tonight for the reserve. So that are racing tonight. Sem is racing tonight. He will start from P11. That is a very coveted spot. Smash starts from P2. Jesper Barneveld, which I'm guessing is not here. Rattle, Stifler and Jensen, they are also on the grid and have put in a decent performance in qualifying, but we are close to getting underway then, ladies and gentlemen, for this race. And of course, the first race of the league racing season for these PS drivers. I don't think many of them have done league races in other leagues. PSGL is relatively early when it comes to starting their league, of course, and tonight is going to be a real interesting test. Bahrain, probably one of the most exciting tracks in real life, and in league racing, I tell you what, it is a favourite beyond belief. So do stick with me, do stick with us, of course, because this is going to be some very, very good racing starting in a few seconds. And we're just waiting now for the lights to come on. I need to just put a few things on there, and the lights are all on now. 5 red lights, and we are underway for this race in Bahrain. Who's got a good start then? It looks like the Aston Martin of Joey's got an excellent start, smashing Cortez side by side through the first corner. Is Smash going to take the lead of this race? No, he doesn't. Cortez stays there. Joey still on the inside. Is he going to take the move to Smash? They're still side by side, but Joey maybe boxed in a little bit. Cortez still leads though through turn 1. Joey looking to go around the outside in his Aston Martin. Has he got the move done? It looks like he has. A brilliant move from the Aston Martin as he slots in to P2. Smash down to P3 then. Looks like everyone's been clean though through the first couple of corners as the Alpine comes down the inside of Pat. He's had a very good start. Has Pat at the moment. Schumacher also up to P5. A good start from him. Jensen stays in P6 and rests down the grid. just stayed together. There's a few cars going a little bit wide there, of course, through the corner. I did say about the first couple of laps being a little bit scruffy. It looks like that is the case, but Cortez, he is in the lead in his Haas. He has actually gained quite a good advantage over Joey, half a second already through the first lap, but that probably was down to the fact that Joey was battling through the first couple of corners with M&T Smash. But overall, a very clean start from everyone. I think Kryptonite and Margalit may have had damage or had a little bit of a scrap at the back which has cost them. And Sem, he hasn't really made that P11 really work. He's down to P17. He may have also been a part of that scrap. Joey, though, he's just going to sit behind, I reckon, on Cortez for now, but at the moment, this is the way the things are going to be. Further down the grids, I think that's just a telemetry glitch thing that happens on this game. So, unfortunately, I don't think it's much overtaking towards the back, which is not exactly what we want, ladies and gentlemen, is basically people going up and down like that. I tell you what, though, it is a lot more stable than what it was. I've just jinxed myself. Lovely. Okay, so it's not as stable as we would like. So Cortez is leading. Joey's had a bit of a moment there of the exit of that corner. This may open the door for Smash a little bit. And Pat has fallen behind as well. He may come under pressure from Schumacher 1 in his Ferrari. That's fitting. A Schumacher in a Ferrari. Where we heard that one before. And can he put in a Schumacher performance and potentially steal the race win? He was in F1 Challengers last game. This game he's sitting in PSGL F3 and obviously definitely looking at a title favourite. But he's not had the best of qualifying starting from P7. He's still in P7. No, he's in P5 now. I do apologise. This damn time thing is not exactly very helpful as Greeny retires from the session. That's not exactly surprising of what corner he's decided to bin it at, because that corner isn't exactly a favourite on this track, and it is very easy to lose the rear end on that curb on the outside. So unfortunate for Greeny, he is out of this race, and that is one Williams out, and one Williams is still in this race. And I mean, the colouring for the blue is quite hard to tell which one is the Williams, but I believe it is Sem, if I am 100% correct. And that is really the good start of things here into PSGL F3, and this is what League Racing is all about. I want to introduce you to this thing. It's called a train, and this is exactly a nightmare for League Racers, particularly these ones down in P6, P7. It's not exactly great, is it, to have a big, long train full of drivers, because no one will be able to overtake. The closest opportunity, I think, would be for P4 right now, as Pat is kind of lingering between that DRS zone and not. He's got DRS on this occasion, so he will close in on Smash, but he is the closest one to potentially be caught out, as the telemetry needs to fix itself for Isaac Kush and behind, because I guarantee they are not over a minute behind P8 right now. But at the moment, everyone seems to be in a big train at the moment, including Pat, and Schumacher's fell behind VRT Pat at the moment. But Cortez still leading nice and early on in this race, but there is a long way to go, ladies and gentlemen. Don't think this race is over by the way it started. It could be all to play for, and there we go. Here comes the first move of the race for the lead, and Joey takes the lead. I've missed that, I do apologise there, but Joey takes the lead of this race. He's the first one, and now I think that M&T Smash is going to consider having a go. In fact, no, because the DRS has helped Cortez. Cortez can keep his lead. Looking further back, though, I think that is Schumacher. No, it's Lewis, who could be under threat from Isaac Kush, and Isaac Kush is going to have a good go at him, and there we go, nice and easy into P8 for the AlphaTauri. And now my telemetry is completely gone altogether, so I'm not exactly sure who's battling up ahead, but I will be sure to look at the leaders at the moment, since that is the one who will not have the DRS until the telemetry decides to fix itself again. But Joey, since he's got into the lead, he's actually cleared off quite away from these two, and Cortez has actually lost out to Smash now, so Cortez having a bit of a struggle early on in this race. But remember, these drivers, they are so close, and it's particularly these drivers at the front, less than a tenth separating them in qualifying. I do expect them to be quite close in the race, as Joey takes a bit of a wider line there, goes off the track. That probably was a warning for him. not what he would have needed. But as he comes through to the final corner, expect Smash to have a go on Joey here as we go on board with the Mercedes. Expect him to close the gap to Shizu. Joey out in front. He's actually got the fastest lap of this race as well. Is he going to go for it? He looks a bit too far back for my liking, but Cortez is closing in on him behind. Looking further back then, it looks like my telemetry has decided to fix itself, except from it's decided to break that side of things as well. Sem overtakes nice and easy on one of them, on one of the Red Bulls, which is Rattel Stifler, and there is no battles going on back here, which is a shame. But at the moment, out in front is the Aston Martin of Joey, as we have a massive train of cars, and there's also a car out of this race, and that is Jesper in the Alpha Tauri. So that's an Alpha Tauri out. Now, safety cars in this game, they do happen, but for some reason they don't happen quite as often, and there's no safety car for that incident as well. So at the moment, Joey is sitting out in front. He doesn't need to worry about any safety car nonsense obviously ruining his race, and you know, all these guys are at a big train at the moment behind him, and you know, he will be quivering a little bit knowing that Smash will most certainly look to overtake him in a minute. But Joey, of course, out in front, he won't seem to worry at the moment, as he's got a lovely helmet there, by the way. You see the flash of his helmet. It's actually a really nice helmet, I do have to say. That green and blue really fits that Aston Martin quite well. But here comes Smash then. He's going to look to the inside, and because of DRS, he takes the lead of this race. But is Joey going to try and get a switchback going here? This could be dangerous here, going side by side through this corner. Joey's going to slot in, but he has the DRS, so he's going to come back, but he's going to try around the outside. But I think he's going to try either switchback or just sit in behind at the moment on Smash. He's right behind him, and Smash now takes the lead of this race. But Joey, very good driving from him. He just let Smash go for now, and looking to potentially get back at him later this race. Lap 6 of 29 of this race is still a long way to go. It's not exactly days over just as yet. But at the front, of course, a massive train. Towards the back, there's not exactly any battling going on. Maybe Margalit and the Dutch missile, but I don't think it's exactly an accelerating battle. Neither is this one, Tom, Robbo and Orica, as these two have pitted. Obviously, they must have got damage on the opening laps. But yeah, at the front though, there's a huge train of cars, which obviously leads us to problematic stuff such as no overtakes. But Cortez, he's determined to get in front of Joey. He's closed that gap to the Aston Martin driver ahead of him. But because of the DRS, Joey's going to have a good shot potentially at Smash. Is he going to go for it? He knows that Cortez is behind. Smash goes defensive, so here goes Joey trying to go around the outside. Still there for the corner. He's just going to back out into that second place. He's still going to have a good opportunity here. Smash goes defensive again. Blocks the road. Nice and easy there, though, for Joey. The DRS aids him. He's going to go around the outside. This is tricky, but it looks like he's got the move done, and Joey's back into the lead of this race. So a to me to you moment between him and M&T Smash. Good racing from the both of them, though. Nice and easy, very quick, and Cortez still sticking behind, just waiting for one big mistake from these two to take that second place. And if you're in second place right now, it's probably the best place to be the lap before the pit stops, which will be coming quite soon. As was that a little mistake there from Joey out the exit of turn 10 that may have opened the door for Smash. Smash is going to go for it around the outside, and he's got the move done. That's a brilliant move from Smash as he made the corner. Yes, he has. He looked very confident on the brakes, I must say, for the Mercedes. And, well, the Aston Martin just has to sit behind and wait then till the next straight. And M&T Smash's back end is starting to go. They're on the soft tyres, and they do not last a very long time, so that's not surprising to see M&T Smash and all the other guys on the softs perhaps starting to struggle now with their tyres, so gaps will probably start to form. But here comes Joey again. Smash is going to go to the inside line. I don't think it's going to stop Joey though. He's going to send it down the inside, and this should be the retake of the lead for the Aston Martin here. And again, another switchback attempt, which may work for the Mercedes here. So this is like really good racing here. Good defensive moving from Joey, but it is not enough to defend from Smash. As Smash retakes the lead then of this race. Like I said, it's like a to me to you sort of scenario at the moment between the two out front, and the Cortez just sitting there licking his lips, waiting for a small mistake from Joey, or obviously Smash. But it looks like at the moment these two are looking under the pressure, but they're containing the pressure enough not to make any major mistakes. But Smash coming into turn 10 now at the front of this grid, and I do apologise if all you guys are like, why can't we watch the midfield? I tell you why, it's because there's no battling in the midfield, and I guarantee you no overtakes will come from the likes of Lewis or Law unless there's a massive mistake at the moment. Speaking of massive mistakes, Smash has spun out of turn 11. That is exactly what he didn't want to happen. Those soft tyres just gave in and he has gone round. He comes out back into P9, but his race and his plan to win this race is near but over now for Smash. He will definitely need a safety car to consider it, and Joey will be laughing his way to the lead of this race, knowing that he isn't the one to have fell under the pressure with the guys behind, as he is going to take a sturdy lead back in this race. Cortez is going to be happy. He's back into that P2 spot, which is always a good place to be, right behind the leader, of course, with Pat, who's actually closed in to the two leaders as well now. So everyone seems very, very close at the moment. And Joey looks like he's going to maintain the lead for now. Looking further back, I said about this, no overtakes really come from this area. Well, there's an overtake, and oh, it's Lewis and Law. They do go off the track. A slight bit of contact. Hasn't lost them both too much. Just one position to Falk. Well, for Law, it's cost him quite a bit more. He's got a 3-second time penalty. So the Haas team, they've not exactly had a great day, considering Cortez has lost the lead and Law has had that incident, but it's still a good day for them, and it could be actually a better day because Cortez retakes the lead, and I think that was a big mistake from Joey there at the exit of the corner of turn 10. So both the two leaders during this stint have made mistakes which have cost them the lead of this race. One bigger than the other, but it doesn't seem to matter right now. Cortez into the lead of this race. Expect these guys to pit very, very soon. But the Haas out in the lead from the Aston Martin, from the Alpine, and then from Schumacher, who's actually had a great race so far. He's up to P4. Who's going to dive into the pits first? It's VRT Pat in the Alpine, who comes in on his tyres. I do want to mention Falk, by the way, up to P5 on those mediums. He's clear of anyone else on the mediums. It's a brilliant job, as there's a battle for the lead at the front here, and they're going side by side through turn 2. One has to back out for now. It will be Joey, but Joey will have the DRS to get by him at the exit of this corner, but I think Joey is just going to sit in behind Cortez, as it's very close indeed, and this may open the door for Schumacher now, as he is now into P3. So a brilliant race so far for Schumacher, considering obviously this, and Joey's going a little bit wider. Schumacher considering his options. Here he goes though, down the inside. A Schumacher-esque move, budging his teammate out the way, and the Ferrari is into P2, and Joey may lose P3 as well. He's side by side through turn 9 and 10 with Jensen, and I think Joey has just about kept the position, but now here comes Jensen under pressure from Falke. That would have been a very crazy incident if that had happened, but good driving from both of them, going very close. But Falk into P4. He's loving it on these medium tyres. These soft tyre drivers cannot contain him at the moment. The Alfa Romeo is up to 4th place on those mediums. He is a very safe position and a very good position for later on in this race, as he closes in on Shizu Joey ahead. Cortez though would be happy. He's lost a bit of the pressure from Schumacher and Joey battling behind, and there's been a moment, I think it's Smash, and yep, he's spun around again, so a little bit of problems there for them as a few guys now start to pit, and Falk takes the lead of this race. Is Jensen going to look for a move? No, he's not. Of course he's not. There's no point to get a move done, and get done over again. No point even battling, because he's now up under the pressure from the guys who have now come in onto the mediums, such as Cortez, Schumacher and Joey. And I tell you what, this second half of the race is going to be something else as these guys continue to battle. There's a bit of scruffiness there from Lewis, perhaps breaking a little bit late, and it's costing position to Jensen there. So Lewis will go into third place, Jensen into second, and that is the way the cookie crumbles for that battle at the moment. Looking further back, these are the guys who've just come out of the pits. Cortez with Schumacher behind. These are the net leaders of the race once they come out again. Actually, it's not them. It will be Pat at the moment. So Pat, who decided to pit in early, he's got a 1.8 second advantage to these guys. This could be a masterclass from the Alpine team and from Pat at the moment. But Pat at the moment in 7th. He does know he's got traffic ahead, and also something he does know is that his tyres will wear out quicker than these guys behind. And, you know, you'll be putting yourself in puncture territory after 19 laps on the medium, so he will obviously have to nurse his tyres and be quite careful. Something he'll also have to be careful about is how Cortez, Schumacher and Joey will be looking to quickly get back up to the Alpine driver. But here he goes. He's going to go for a move on a blaze. Needs to get past these guys quickly. Doesn't want to be caught up in traffic, of course, and he's doing his job rather well, is VLT Pat. And has he got outside, inside the DRS? He has Isaac Kush, but that's because Isaac Kush, I'm not sure if he's actually here. So for Pat, it should be an easy move, and there we go. Actually, Isaac Kush is here, and that's pretty much confirmed it, but he is on the hard tyres, so he's not got the grip, and Pat has got through nice and easily. So he is actually in Dreamland right now. Someone else who's in Dreamland is Schumacher, who's had a stunning race, I have to say. He's now ahead of Cortez and now into a net second place. So Schumacher, who started P7, is now in a net second place. So a brilliant race so far for the Ferrari. Cortez will still be kicking himself for the fact how he's lost the lead here at the moment, but Joey's just sitting behind. He must have had some sort of problem in the pit stop, because he's lost about a second to these guys ahead though, as Schumacher may be looking for an ambitious move on a blaze, and you know what, that's caught a blaze out, and a blaze has had to go wide. That's let Cortez through as well, so Cortez looking to close again on Schumacher. And now Pat has obviously been released. He's got no traffic ahead of him. Schumacher's got to get past one more guy. Same with Cortez. Joey had to get past 2 guys, but now it's just 1 as a blaze kind of moves out the way there pretty much to let this race continue going in the way it's going. But Schumacher at the moment, he's just chilling into this second place at the moment in this DRS train. He should be able to get past Isaac Kush pretty soon. It's worn hard tyres versus new medium tyres, so obviously you know which one's got the advantage there. As Pat sets the fastest lap, doesn't last long. Schumacher takes the fastest lap, so he is flying in that Ferrari in this race. Looking further back, we may want to have a look at some of these battles further back. There's just no one seeming to be close enough. How is Smash doing at the back here? I don't think he'll even be caught up by the guys behind, to be honest, because they're on worn tyres as well. Well, it's new fresh ones, as there goes Schumacher. He's up to P4. Cortez into P6. He'll have the dispatch of Isaac Kush pretty easily. Expects potentially a dive down the inside here. He doesn't. Of course, he's a bit too far. I was expecting him to be a little bit closer at the exit of the corner, but the quicker he dispatches him, the quicker he can keep on to this train in front. And Pat already suffering from a few effects perhaps now, as Schumacher is within the DRS, and Cortez perhaps struggling with the braking points. He doesn't want to get damaged, knowing that he's going to be much more confident on the brakes than Isaac Kush, so he's going to be quite cautious, I reckon. But Schumacher, he is doing a good job at the moment in that Ferrari. Isaac Kush is actually doing a good job, well, defending against Cortez, I suppose. But Cortez does need to get by Isaac Kush very quickly, otherwise he'll have that Aston Martin right down his throat, right attacking him. And here we go then. There's a chance for Cortez to finally get past Isaac Kush. I'm not sure how Isaac Kush is going to defend this, because he doesn't really need to. This isn't really his battle. Is Joey going to do the same? No, he's not. And still side by side, Isaac Kush does have a go at keeping the position, and he's still going to stay there. This isn't exactly the greatest idea from the AlphaTauri, as Joey now comes in behind. He's going to try and go down the inside. Should be an easy move for the braking point, but once again, Isaac Kush is confident on those old hard tyres. This is actually stunning work from Isaac Kush at the moment. It is a shame what happened to him. There's a little nudge there has put him off the track, I think, from Joey. I'm not sure exactly if that was Joey's fault, to be honest. Like I said, the confidence on the braking would be much higher for the Aston Martin than it would for the AlphaTauri, so braking could be a bit different. But now we have this train again, and it's the Alpine that leads it. His teammates not exactly had the greatest race. Has Kryptonite, he's kind of been caught up in a few incidents, of course, as well, which is ironic since he's the head steward. So the head steward could be doing head steward stuff after this, and could be insulting a few people. I don't know. But his commentary style, obviously, when he done the commentary for the lower tiers, he did like to point out the mistakes, which I found quite funny, because I like that sort of stuff. But that's just me anyway. But Pat leads this race then. Net leads this race. Falk will lead this race at the moment. Sem in second place, but Sem isn't really probably going to be competitive for the front, but these guys in front will have to watch out for Falk. This is where the interesting part will come in, ladies and gentlemen, is when Falk pits. Falk will look to pit in about 2 or 3 laps time, and I tell you what, once he gets onto those softs, watch out for the Alfa Romeo. He will be flying, and he'll be flying up to these guys. We've got a move in the back here. It's Jensen. He's getting past Isaac Kush. Should be a nice and easy move. Lewis gets past a Blaze as well. Again, a nice and easy move for the Ferrari there. But Pat, at the moment, he's under pressure from the other Ferrari of Schumacher at the moment. So Ferraris are looking to make more moves at the moment. But Pat in his Alpine is by far just keeping a cool, relaxed head at the moment, and commentator's curse has just caused Pat to go wide there at the corner, but I think he's just remained in his position in 3rd place. So Pat leading the way in his Alpine. Obviously Sem and Falk still to pit, but Schumacher is closing down on him, and same with Cortez, and same with Joey as well. Joey's looking quite confident. He's caught right up to the back of Cortez now. Obviously Cortez had a bit of trouble passing Isaac Kush in his AlphaTauri early on, but watch this then. Schumacher on board in his Ferrari. He should be able to close the gap on Pat. I wonder if he's going to overtake him, or he's just going to stick where he's at. Jensen sets the fastest lap, and it looks like Schumacher's just going to stay where he is. Cortez maybe thinking of a move. Schumacher does block the inside, so Cortez doesn't think about it, but Cortez is now right behind the Ferrari driver. Could be looking at a momentum switch to help him, and a VSC, ladies and gentlemen, and that is Rattel Stifler. So for some guys this will be quite fortunate. For Falk it could be, depends how long this virtual safety car is going to be. I don't think it will stretch out so far for the pit stop though for him. So probably not the best time to pit, but it is within the margins now that the medium tyre drivers will pit onto the softs. So if obviously this holds, we know what Falk and Sem are going to do. They are going to pit. And if they pit, like when the virtual safety car is out, then it is likely Falk will actually lead this race come the end of it, and probably take an almighty win. But at the moment, we sit here with VRT Pat and Schumacher, and the virtual safety car is still not in yet. And Falk's movement here doesn't suggest it's coming in anytime soon. And of course he is. Of course Falk is going to pit. There's no denying he was going to pit. Into the pits comes WOR Falk, and the safety car, the virtual safety car, is still out in this race. So Falk here has been given an absolute gift. He's going to come out probably where all the leaders are. They're going to get by him. So Pat and everything is lucky, but the anxiety that must be going through these guys, knowing that this soft runner is going to be now right behind them. Oh, it's 3 wide there. Oh my goodness, this is a right old mess, but Joey gets by. I don't know how he's done that. That's brilliant there, but all these guys scrapping at the start. Joey also weaving a little bit, perhaps showing that tyre temperatures are down, or he's just saying that was not exactly the correct move from someone. But Cortez and Schumacher still battling, which has brought Jensen into it. Jensen's going to be ambitious and go to the inside. That corner is always hit or miss, and Jensen will have to go off to the track. He comes on, and there is Falk behind him. So Falk, for him, this could be a good opportunity to make up some momentum on Jensen behind. And all this squabbling from Joey, Schumacher and Cortez, that has led Pat once again to clear 3 of these guys behind on those medium tyres. So Pat, at the moment, enjoying life in his Alpine. But I'm going to go back to this sort of battle here. Here comes WR Falk. Look at the grip difference. He's almost overtaking him through a corner. You never see overtaking in F1 in real life. And you barely see it, obviously, in league racing, of course. But here we go then. WR Falk to the inside then of IFR Jensen. And there we go. A nice and easy move for the soft runner. And many people will be tipping WR Falk to win this race now. I'm pretty sure it will be quite a long shot to say he won't win this race, and you know, the frustration must be coming from ear to ear for Pat, Joey, Schumacher and Cortez. Not exactly Isaac Kush, who I think is actually going to the end, and I didn't even realise it. So Isaac Kush is definitely going to the end. But Falk definitely probably not in the greatest of moods, as Pat is actually not in the greatest of moods, knowing what has happened with Falk and how he's been able to close right up to these guys. But he's still in the lead of this race for now, and well, Schumacher, Joey and Cortez battling hasn't exactly supported in their clause to win this race. The battling just slows them down and just makes sure Pat can get away at the moment, and Pat he's almost 2 seconds clear of Schumacher behind as well, so he's got a healthy gap, but he does know there is a soft runner really going to be coming at these guys quite relatively quickly. And looking from behind of QVR Cortez, just look at the grip difference Falk has. He may even look for this corner as well. Here comes WR Falk down to the inside then of Cortez. There's nothing really Cortez can do as Falk's up to P4 now. He's got 3 cars to go and he's in the lead of this race. This is like George Russell chasing down Sergio Perez, but without, of course, the slow puncher which stopped him to win the race that evening. Of course, we don't know if he would have won the race that evening. Something else could have happened, but it doesn't matter, as Falk, of course, well, slow punches don't really exist on this game, so Falk is going to be quite expressive in these next couple of laps to get past these guys quickly, braking much more confidently than Joey ahead of him. Here they come then. Joey's going to go defensive. Of course he is. He wants that podium here today, but there's not much he can really do for the Alfa Romeo, as the Alfa Romeo goes round the outside. Kind of got caught off, and perhaps as he almost went to the back of Schumacher ahead, so he's going to have to go again against Shizou Joey, who defends vigorously for the Alfa Romeo. And you know what, Cortez perhaps was thinking about a move as well, as Joey is keeping Cortez within reach of Falk. And this is exactly what's helping Schumacher now. Schumacher's now got quite a clear gap to Joey, and actually is closing in on VRT Pat ahead as well. So the Alpine is slowly starting to struggle on his medium tyres. Schumacher is trying to close in. Joey is still holding off Falk, but for how long can the Aston Martin driver do that? As of course Falk will be coming in hot on those soft tyres. They will not be done for quite a while. But yeah, Falk at the moment 1/10 between him and Joey, and should be really a move on this lap, as Joey of course doesn't have any DRS. Is there Aston Martin gonna even try go defensive against him? Of course he's not. No reason to. Falk up to P3. Joey may try to keep within reaches of overtaking again. In fact, he may try and overtake here, but look at the grip difference out the exit these corners. Grip is crucial through turn 2 and 3, and that is where Falk obviously will have the expertise with those soft tyres on. But Pat and Schumacher out in front. It's these two who Falk has to catch up to now, and time is on his side, but of course tyre wear can it rapidly decrease, and lap times can rapidly increase, of course, for Falk. So he must get the moves done soon. but obviously he doesn't need to really fuss about rushing anything. But the Alfa Romeo, he's had a stellar race, well, on those medium tyres, stellar pace on his medium tyres. A bit fortunate, let's be honest, with the timing of the VSC, of course, and it still didn't even go out when he was midway through the pits, so Falk got very fortunate, and he's obviously now the #1 candidate to win this race, as he's closed right onto the back of Schumacher already in a lap. He's gained about a second. That just shows you how good these soft tyres are, but Pat leads the way. He's going to aid Schumacher here. He's going to try to aid him and keep Falk behind, and Schumacher obviously will get the DRS. He will know, of course, but Pat is sticking to his line, so he's not trying to disrupt anything. Schumacher, though, is not going to go for a move. Is Falk going to think about it? No, he's not. He's just going to sit behind. Like I said, that's not a surprise. WOR ablaze. The other WOR driver in this tier is out of this. And look at this. Schumacher goes ultra defensive there. Really not giving Falk any space to move onto that inside. Very, very defensive from Schumacher. He's trying to keep his way through. And that has put a spanner in the works for Falk there. He's gone a tad bit wide. And that's give him a 3-second time penalty. So for Pat, and Schumacher obviously got one just there as well. So for Pat at the moment, the more Schumacher keeps him behind, Pat is going to win this race. But Pat knows how difficult it's going to be. Those soft tyres are still going to be very quick. We've already seen how much time he was able to gain on Schumacher. It was literally about a second on the last lap, and Schumacher will take that defensive line. He defends quite well here, but Falk, though, has found that the braking line there for Schumacher was compromised, and he's going to try around the outside of the move. They both actually go wide at that corner. That's probably another warning for the pair of them, and Falk perhaps starting to struggle a little bit as he's struggling to get past the Ferrari of Schumacher 1 up ahead, but there's 1/10 between the two. It's very close between everyone, and right behind as well, Joey and Cortez perhaps having a good go. But here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. Is it defensive time for Schumacher again? It is defensive time for Schumacher, but Falk is going to still get to that inside. We could be looking at a move also behind as well. Cortez and Joey battling out side by side, and there we go. Joey up to P4 from Cortez. Schumacher loses his 3rd place. He's going to try and fight back at Falk, but Falk with the DRS, he's able to keep his position into 2nd place here. But look at this battle behind as well. Joey and Cortez very close, but Joey comes out as the victor in 4th place. So Pat leads the way then by 3/10 of a second, and surely Falk will be taking the lead of this race very soon. The soft tyres plus the DRS advantage for him will be very helpful indeed, but the Alpine, he wouldn't really worry about it too much. He's got a 3-second gap when Falk overtakes him simply because of the penalty, but he's going to definitely try and keep Falk behind for as much as he can and wear those soft tyres down as much as they can. This is going to be vigorous defending, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure Pat really wouldn't want to give away or throw away this win. This will be a brilliant redemption for the Alpine team. Only one finisher into the points is realistic at the moment, and that one finisher in the points could be your race winner this evening. So Pat then through the final corner. It looks like Falk is right behind him. Surely Pat can't defend this. There is no way he could defend this from Falk, as here he comes then. Falk to the inside. Pat is just going to have to yield there to the outside, and Schumacher could have a particular move on the agenda for Pat. And there we go, he had a go, but Schumacher though loses out, sticks into 3rd place. Cortez and Joey are actually ghosting through each other. Not exactly the greatest of racing, unfortunately. That's not even Joey. What's happened to Joey? He slipped down to 6th. That's actually his teammate, the Dutch Missile, who was ghosting through, and he's ghosting because he's a lap down. So a little bit of confusion there, and Joey slipped down to 6th. So maybe a little mistake there from Joey, which has cost him a few positions. Is Lewis going to look for a move then on Isaac Kush? No, he's not. He's just going to sit in behind for a little bit longer. But Jensen will have to catch up to QVR Cortez, who will be aided with the DRS, I think, because of the Dutch Missile. And there we go. So fortunate for him in the Haas that he has been able to get himself DRS. And he will try and close in on Schumacher, and Pat's now starting to struggle a little bit on those medium tyres. He's fell out of the DRS of Falk. Falk will no longer get DRS, of course. So he won't be able to have that straight line advantage. Something he will have is the grip advantage though. And well, he's 1.2 clear at the moment. We want to keep a track of this, ladies and gentlemen, because this is not race over yet. Since the fact that we've still got these guys battling behind, but not only that, Falk's tyres will obviously die quicker than the mediums, and if Falk can clear off, he needs to clear off by 3 seconds, so he still needs to find a second and a half, and he's found 2/10 through the first sector alone, so obviously there's still a lot there in the tank for WR Falk. The thing is though, over these next couple of laps, those softs will die. They will begin to die and the mediums will be at advantage. So Pat and Schumacher, if they can hold on to their position right now, I'm sure they'd happily take it. Particularly obviously Pat at the moment. And is Pat getting aided with DRS here? No, he's not. If he was, I'm sure again he'll be more thankful for the Aston Martin head in the Dutch missile. But it's not the case at the moment. And he's 2 seconds now behind Falk, so this could be more of a battle for P2 now. Falk looks like he's going to win this race. There's 5 laps to go still, anything can happen. But it looks like now the Alfa Romeo is going to take the first victory of the season, and perhaps a little bit of a tasteless one, to say the least. We didn't really exactly get the accelerating sort of overtaking and desperate lunges that we perhaps would have wanted, simply because Falk knew he had a lot of time, and you know he still needs to push though at the moment, and it is going to be impressive still to win this race, as Cortez I think just hit the back of Schumacher there, so these guys are close at least, but at the moment no one's going to be making moves now. They're just sticking in positions at the moment. It's going to be down to the last laps to decide who's going to be finishing on the podium. It looks like Schumacher's penalty though is going to completely ruin his race pretty much, which is unfortunate for Schumacher, but obviously if you get the penalty, that is your fault, that's not anyone else's fault. And for him, considering all the cars behind him within 3 seconds, it will drop him from P3 at the moment down to P8. I do want to mention Falk this lap, I don't think he's actually cleared off as much as he would have liked. He's actually been dwindling between the 2.3 and 2.4. I don't know if Dutch missiles had a bit to do with it in interference, but he's not exactly helping his teammate out, is he? Because Falk is almost but certainly going to get DRS here, so Pat is going to be even more furious, but he is closing the gap to that Alfa Romeo, so this may not be over just yet. And although this straight will aid him, and maybe for the few straights to come, I'm sure the Dutch missile wouldn't exactly be too clear of Falk's pace. And surely, for his teammates' sake anyway, for Joey, he's not going to try and hinder this. But at the moment, the Dutch missile has been kind of dwindling between positions here. He's now actually behind Falk again. But Pat is 2.6 behind. As it stands, I think Pat, or Pat Schneider as he's actually known, he's no longer in VRT. I've been calling him that because that's his name. At this current point, Pat Schneider wins this race for Alpine. But also at this point, Falk still has a couple laps really to go. And Falk at the moment could potentially still be losing this race to Pat. All Pat needs to do is keep it on track and keep a consistent pace, and he is going to be the first winner of the race. And I believe this is actually going to be his first win in PSGL as well, so it's going to be quite a victorious night for him. But Schumacher behind with the penalty, it's just going to aid him even more, so his fellow countryman is really, well, shouldn't really be attacking him at the moment. So Pat at the moment just sticking in his position, This does seem like a bit of a boring end to the race, but we do have a little battle here. Isaac Kush versus Lewis, but I think Lewis is going to get the easy move done. I don't think Isaac Kush even needs to worry. You know what I said about his fellow countrymen trying not to take position? Schumacher is going to ruin it for Pat at the moment, because Pat has fell behind the Ferrari ahead. So Schumacher now up to second, even though Pat, of course, is the first person here not with a penalty. So Schumacher, I'm guessing, believes he can close that gap to Falk, and you know, it wouldn't be a bad claim either, to be honest. Falk is actually losing quite a lot of time here. I don't know if he's actually trying to battle with the Dutch missile, because it did look like he was going to the inside here. I sort of see this at the moment, because it looked like he actually was trying to defend against the Dutch missile. And look at this, he's taken the inside line. He knows that it's a ghost car, so it's not going to affect him, but the Dutch missile must be putting him off, because Schumacher is getting closer and closer to this leader, but Schumacher isn't actually the one who's fighting for the win right now. Although yet, he could still be fighting for the win, because he's closed in quite a big gap to Falk. If he can make DRS at the final lap, this will be incredible. I would be absolutely stunned if Schumacher comes off the victor in this race. And you know what? He is closing, and he is closing fast in his Ferrari. So, at the moment, Pat is still your race winner in 2 laps' time, but Schumacher at the moment is showing pace, viable potentially to win this race. But this is a problem. Falk is still battling with the Dutch missile, and Dutch missile is aiding him with DRS. So, on the straight, Schumacher is so compromised, it's not leading him to catch up. So, this is going to be one thrilling end to the race, especially if Schumacher can find the time to beat Falk in this race, because I don't even know what to say at the moment. He's clear of Pat now. Pat's mediums, I think, are starting to go completely, so this could be anyone's. This could be Falk's, this could be Schumacher somehow, this could be Pat's still, this could be Jensen's, this could even be Joey's. If Joey catches Jensen out for a mistake, this could be Joey who's the victor tonight. But I honestly have no clue who's going to win this race. It's between the 5 of them. The likely candidate at the moment would be Pat. At the moment, you look at the gap to the leader, 2.3, and that's remained itself for quite a while. But Falk, look at this, he's now tucked in behind the Dutch missile again. So he will be aided with DRS again. And in fact, the Dutch missile is quite far clear. So Falk, obviously, that's his tactic here. And he looks like he could be getting away with it. And we're on to the final laps, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put the gap to the leader here, because this could be Falk's, this could be Schumacher's, this could be Pat's. I don't think Jensen's going to win. Pat is quite clear of Jensen at the moment. So for Pat, he's done what he needs to do to potentially win this race. For Falk, he's trying to do his best. I'm not sure those softs, though, are lasting too much. He's pushing the hills with those softs. And for what I said was an easy victory for Falk, as another mistake just comes in for him, it looks like the victory is going to go to Pat at the moment. And that'll be his first victory in PSGL, so he'll be very jubilant about that. Schumacher right now, he will try to close down Falk. He's ran out of time, though, I think, to even think at a chance. But I believe, if I am correct, the victor tonight is going to be Pat. And I think, of course, Falk may not even take a podium here. We'll have to wait and see. So Falk, he's coming through the final few corners. This is going to be the final lap, of course. The final few corners, the final corner, last braking zone, I should say. And Falk is going to win this race on track, but has been hunted down very well by Schumacher, who's also got a penalty, so he's not going to win this race. And the victory will go to this man in the Alpine, VRT Pat. His first victory in PSGL, and he's the first victor of the season. Big congratulations to him in the Alpine. Jensen will finish P2 as well. A very strong result for him. He said in qualifying he bottled pole position. Well, he'll take P2 winning in the race. It's not the win, but it is P2, and it's a very strong result for him. Falk just about clings on to a podium despite the penalty. Joey will finish P4. Very strong result for him in his Aston Martin. He knows it could have been a bit more though, which he will be regretting solely, but I'm sure Joey will be happy with that P4. And Schumacher, he's just left the session. He knows it's a result he wouldn't have wanted. Without the penalty, it would have been P2. With the penalty, it's P5. It's better than P8 than what perhaps he could have had, but he closed down absolutely brilliantly on that Alfa Romeo. Lewis will finish P6. Isaac Kush finishes P7, and Cortez, he finished down in P8 in the end. So I'm not exactly sure what happened to Cortez, and I don't know if he's run out of fuel or not. No, he's got a puncture. Okay, so this is why he finished P8. He got a puncture, so that means that Pat was obviously very lucky not to lose this race to that. Cortez got a puncture. Sem finished P9, and Law is your final points scorer. So who got the fastest lap before everything finishes? It was the Dutch Missile, so no points will be going out to anyone for that. But yeah, it is that man in the Alpine, VRT Pat Schneider, who takes the first victory of the season. And I mean, going into the start of this one, he would have been a contender, but I wouldn't have thought he would win the race. So big congratulations to Pat, and obviously a big congratulations to the entire podium. But that was a brilliant race put on display by all these guys, of course, and particularly for the Alfa Romeo of Falk. He would be quite disappointed perhaps in this result, and obviously he knows that a win could have been his today. He had the advantage of the alternate strategy, the advantage of the virtual safety car, but it just didn't turn off. Excuse me, but it just really didn't go well in the end for Falk. But he takes a podium. The Danish driver will be very happy with that, but it's Pat who wins the Grand Prix. Jensen finishes P2. That might actually just be Jensen because he's English. So all this time he's saying Jensen may not actually be the case. But Falcon P3. Joey finishes P4 there. A good start for him in this season. Schumacher from P5. Lewis in P6. A good day for Ferrari as well in the Constructors' Championship. Both finishing this race. Both Hasses actually finishing this race in Law and Cortez as well, as Sem finishes in between them in the Williams in P9 to put on a good debut. If you're wondering about everyone else outside the top 10, here they are. So everyone else outside the top 10, M&T Smash, probably the one you wouldn't have expected if you were watching qualifying and then tuned off, but he was the one who finished outside the top 10. And well, for Smash, what could have been, what could have, should have, would have, as they obviously say. But that is the end of the stream though, ladies and gentlemen. Bahrain was actually, it was a very good race, let's be honest. It was probably one of the strongest races well, of the season. I would say it would be once the season fully gets underway, of course. But every single driver is going to be absolutely chuffed with the first race perhaps. But for those who aren't, there is a long season ahead. Remember, it's obviously not the last race of the season. We're not midway through. We're right at the start. We've still got loads of races to go, and we head to round 2 next week, of course, where hopefully I'm joined by my sidekick Noah, who obviously will be the main comms next week. We'll join you in France, where hopefully next Monday we will see more of this action. PSGL still on though this evening, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still around in this stream. Remember that F1 is on right now. I believe they're just ending qualifying. I'll just tell you who, well, if I didn't have an ad, I'll just tell you who is on pole position currently, or who's in the box seat for it, and it is CRG Blizzard on the box seat for pole position. So one of the favourites, already showing why he is one of the favourites. But with that, I've been your commentator Sam for this evening. I've been on my own really this evening, so other than that, it was a good race, and I'll speak to you guys next